computer. Jo, I'm a mixed emotion about this conversation we're about to have. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And I say I've got mixed emotions because as I've been reading your book, your PDF, as you can imagine, I've been on a bit of a roller coaster, as I'm sure so many people will when they hear about the book and when they read it for themselves. And so I just wanted to do a brief introduction to say how I found you and your work, because I think that will help the listeners piece things together. So I came across, I've been in the field of personal health, personal development for a long time, and I came across Dolores Cannon's work, and I was totally taken by her. She's amazing, her books, and I started reading her books, and then I started to join some of the groups that she's on and just really did a bit of a deep dive. And then I came across one of your recordings basically on YouTube, or it must have been in a group, and I just saw the title Mastering Old Earth in a PDF form, and I hit the button to download it and started reading it. And this was several weeks ago now. And then I thought, does this person exist? Who is she? Where is she? Can I get in contact with her? And we've connected, and the rest is history, as they say. So firstly, I just want to say, oh my word, congratulations on just what you're doing. And I know you're working with a big team of people and how important it is. And I haven't read all of it. I dip in and out. I've read about up to 100 pages, and then I get so excited and jump onto a next chapter. But I'm feeling it's one of those documents or manuals that has to be reread several times. And what I would love today is, because it's such a huge topic, can you just start and tell us how this whole thing came about? Because what you're doing for humanity is just frankly incredible.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being guided and open to opening up the PDF. It's not an accident, I'm sure. And first of all, I sort of feel like everyone that stumbles across Dolores Cannon has this, this beautiful starting of a relationship of finding the truth. And isn't it so refreshing? Because I think we are sold so much nonsense and limited perspectives when you read Dolores Cannon's books and you hear her speaking for her experiences with the sessions with her, hundreds of clients, thousands of clients. It's incredible because it's not just her opinion, because she just, is so-and-so. She's done all this hard work, and she's hearing her clients channeling advanced information from advanced perspectives, from advanced beings in advanced dimensions. So
100%. Yeah, 100%. I felt like I was direct line to God, direct line to source, basically.
Absolutely. It's I find lots of people say, I try to read her books. I just go into a daydream. I just feel like I start looking at it and I just sort of waft away and I just can't focus. And so they say things to me like, it's not for me because I just can't retain it. And I just say, well, maybe it's just because it's so high frequency vibrational. You need to keep getting by, keep going. Don't dismiss it as if there is something that's not for you and you're limiting and blocking yourself. That we've been told so many times in sessions, just owning the books are high frequency vibrations, like little high frequency batteries in your homes, because when you're ready for the information, and I know when people are reading her books and rereading her books as, oh, look, things are unfolding just as she sort of said, fancy that. We're seeing it with more consciousness and more understanding and appreciation of what she was working on and exploring and attracting. Well, no, it's not even attracting. It's more like because of all her efforts and hard work, she was able to get the higher information, the advanced information, to sort of prepare us who were needing to hear this information along our journey for our life purpose and contracts. And I know lots of people dip into this work and say, oh, I'm out. No, no. I create my own reality. I want this to be a healthy world. I want this to be a fantastic future for my children and grandchildren, because I've got a retirement fund and I've got a whole lot of hobbies that I want to master when I, when I get older. And, fair enough. We all did that. We all wanted that. We all feel like we deserve that, and we all deserve that. And unfortunately, as I was quite ignorant on my journey, I was not getting that information from sessions. So I discovered Dolores, got so passionate about understanding how we could heal, how we could get our clients to heal themselves from profound health issues. It got me so excited. So I jumped in to do the course thinking, wow, this is amazing. I could really profoundly help people to help themselves. And so I did not understand or know what the journey I was starting was. And it was very close and quick for me to understand that the information that they were getting to me through my clients was exactly how you're feeling right now. Holy shit.
I think that it's quite a good holy shit, because I've kind of always intuitively known, like I've always known behind physical manifestations is an emotional suppression. When I trained in natural medicine and I started to see patients in my clinics, I could see, like, for example, arthritis, I could see there was a rigidity in someone's system. Yeah, right. And so I kind of knew all that. But this work and a lot of what I've read, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. No, I get that. Yes, I get the reincarnations. I get the life contracts, the life lessons. I'm always saying, like, I freaking did not choose that, but I know damn well I did, So I get but this is a whole new level as well. I mean, this is a whole new level. And it's exactly.
Yeah, and know that for some people, this is poison. This level of truth is poison because they haven't done the experiences and the range of emotions and the connections and the karma with other family members and friends and themselves to be ready for this. And that is judgment, because this is big. And there are some big advanced souls here who needed this information because their lives truly, they knew it had very limited meaning in a 3D capacity, because they are such advanced souls. They naturally reside at a much more higher frequency in life while they love and they can respect others and they're here for humanity. Didn't make sense to them at all. And so it seemed like our teams were noticing these advanced souls trying to have exit points because there was nothing for them to do, because they couldn't understand this mundane routine of life and how most of humanity was trying to suppress themselves, create illnesses and a whole lot of stuff. And it just seemed like, well, what's the significance and point and purpose of this, when they knew that there must have been something more than what we're experiencing in that quotations daily routine life.
Okay, so when did it? So you went into a deep. You said, holy shit, what is this? So how long were you doing these? Talk about the sessions. Explain to the listeners what's involved in the sessions and how you began to become aware, like Dolores, that you were dealing directly with collective consciousness, collective consciousness. Is that right for me to say? With subconscious. Explain to us.
Sure. So, when you have a session with someone, you sit down and you hear all about their entire life that they are willing to share with you. And usually that can take quite a few hours as they are exploring traumas from childhood or relationship breakdowns, experiences, a whole lot of stuff. You're just listening to them share. And so you get to witness them with their mindsets, their perspectives, their hang-ups, their tears, their joy, their pride, all of this sort of stuff as they are presenting their whole lives to you, because there is still something that they feel like they need to understand about themselves. And so when you put, there is this method where you get them into a really deep state of relaxation. So you've heard all their life stories. You hear what they want. Like they just feel like, commonly people just feel like there is something more for me, and I am trained in this field. I love my job. I love my family. I love my home. Blah 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 blah. But there is something huge, and I can't see it. And this is what aggravates them and worries them, is because there is something something they need to remember. They get kind of panicky because they're like, my life is perfect, but I feel like I'm missing this huge piece of me or something. And it kind of, you can feel it, all of their emotions. And so they're trying to figure out why they're here, who they are, and what their past has been that may be holding them back or looping them or triggering them. They just desperately are at this point where they just want to know themselves finally, because they've gone to readers and they've gone to psychics and they've gone to a whole lot of stuff, and it kind of boosted them for a little bit, but there's still no big answers of information. So they would go into the deep state of relaxation and start journeying for about an hour, other lifetimes.
Okay.
That you get to hear, and they're exploring and they're feeling, and they have exit points from all different things, and it's very interesting. And as a practitioner, you kind of like, oh, that helps with this, and you can kind of see the puzzles all merging and forming in together to be like, oh my gosh, she's going to feel fantastic understanding this, why she had this irrational fear in this lifetime, or something. It's extraordinary, because they can't be faking it, because if they could just pretend to be relaxed and start channeling all this information, you'd think, well, they wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't be talking to them. They would have just, understood themselves so profoundly. So the first sort of part of the session is them exploring significant other lifetimes that they've lived. That is very helpful to be able to understand themselves this lifetime. And then the subconscious is invited in, which is their main guide. We're all multidimensional beings, and so it's kind of like we're the smallest little baby Russian doll, right? We're cutesy, we're little 3D versions of ourselves. Everyone loves us and adores us, and but we go really contained into bigger Russian dolls. And the next, I call my subconscious, sort of like the next dolly up, and he's a Arcturian, and he he is in this sort of like 9th dimension, and he's living his best Arcturian life. But when you start talking to people about ETs and off-planet beings and all that sort of stuff, this is a big concepts that people feel a little bit, well, prove it kind of thing. And there's some beautiful religious people that still feel like connecting into other dimensions and other realms is witchcraft and a whole lot of stuff. But you have to experience that this is a really beautiful, helping, healing perspective of who we are. Absolutely. And I've never come across anything that's truly negative or that hasn't wanted to profoundly heal and help and inspire my clients to be able to really empower themselves to release all their guilt and their perspectives of frustrations and hurt and all that sort of stuff. So I love this conversation. I don't even know if I'm even answering your question, but
it's so good because it's framing everything up for people, because what people don't realize is, well, a lot of people do, I think, but a lot of people don't appreciate that life here, me, Joanne, in this physical vehicle that I'm in, it's a game of contracts that I've agreed to live out. And, as much as I get frustrated about events, I've asked for it to happen. And that one of my things I always say is we are so much more magnificent and so much more powerful than we know ourselves to be. But what happens is when we come down, we forget who we are. And so, if sessions like the QHHT sessions are magnificent, because what they're doing is that part of you that you feel is missing or you don't understand, it's just helping you get a little glimpse as to what, why, where. And I do wonder, we will get onto the whole, shifting and leaving planet Earth and Gaia. I do wonder if this game will ever be allowed again, because I think we've screwed it up so freaking royally. I wonder if it would ever be allowed again. That's something we can discuss. So no, you're answering the questions perfectly. So so talk about the session. Yes. So that's what happens in a session. And then you were saying, how did this whole mastering old Earth come about?
Yes. So the more my clients were, really wanting to understand, as a practitioner, you just hold space for them, and when they are channeling their subconscious, their main guide, who knows everything about everything, like about them, they're really, they're very very advanced, and they will remember days in our lives where we have completely forgotten about, and so they will remind us of that experience and all this sort of stuff, which they can see from their perspective as a big sticking point or such and such. And so my clients were coming in and asking certain questions like, they've been hearing about certain concepts that they don't quite understand or grasp, and so they were wanting their subconscious to explain it to them, because my mansplaining of a concept is very human and my perspective, but advanced beings, they will explain it to individual clients very well, because they know the language, they know the concepts, and they know how to reach us the best way for us. And so even if I was channeling for you, my subconscious may be explaining things that are perfect for me, because, when you're channeling, it's not just words, it's senses, it's everything. There's so much more richness in the experience. But if you were channeling your subconscious, they would hit the mark so perfectly and profoundly. You would I understand concept of time. I don't know if I can explain it very well, but when I'm doing a channeling, it's very, very clear, very clear, easy time. But, humans talking about time, it's quite a mind bend, especially when time's all present now when it exists. So anyway, the biggest sort of shocking things I was starting to hear in sessions was when clients were having other lifetimes where they were evacuating planets. And you get on to hear all the details, and they're going through these scenes, and it's very significant. And then when you talk to the subconscious at the later part of the session, you're like, Mr. Subconscious, what's the significance of showing my client that? I'm trying to think, how is this impacting them this lifetime? Because I haven't heard anything. They're trying to figure out whether they should go back to varsity or something else. I'm trying to figure out and navigate all of the pieces of the puzzle of these sessions. And then the subconscious said, well, this is what they're going to do in the future. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? Like, how? And they're like, well, for Earth. And I was like, what? And they just started like saying all this stuff, which I was supposed to be ready for, to like totally roll with and be fine with it. And I was very confused myself, because I was like, what do you mean they're evacuating the planet? Like, we're fine here, thank you. Like, I just, but of course, trying to be professional and trying to process it myself. And when you're doing these courses, you meet lots of other practitioners, and you can get to do lots of sessions with other practitioners and stuff, and kind of fact check it all. And you sort of hope, when you're hearing big information, this is just a one-off for that client. Like, maybe you do have your own reality. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it's not happening really. Yeah.
So when I did the course, it was 2019. And when I was doing sessions for myself as a client, Dolores kept jumping in, because of other lifetimes we've had together and a whole lot of stuff. And it was, it's all fine to listen to a client and a good session for you, my friend, fantastic, that will help you. And then go away and think about it. And then they're going away and listening to it and going, because you even though you're very relaxed and beautiful, it's like a spa treatment energetically within you, and it just feels so relaxing, and you're just chatting away. You can't actually process what you're actually saying until you listen back to it. So there's a difference between experiencing the session and then listening to it and then freaking the F out with our little human minds. And because there's so much. I mean, to summarize, and this is what I've sort of discovered after, in like daily sessions with clients all around the world, because I ended up doing a BQH course as well, which gives me the bonus of being able to do support sessions through Zoom, online. It's very valid, because I'm not tapping into your subconscious, you're tapping in and channeling your subconscious with you, and your subconscious is always with you. And I've never had a problem with doing sessions online. I've even had like a power cut and things like that, and it's still been fine. So, there's nothing to worry about. The subconscious will never let anything happen to the clients. It's just not in their nature, and we're so protected. It's ridiculous. If we believed and understood how amazing we are at soul level and how protected we are, God, we'd be like running with scissors and being like totally fine with it, because it's like, we just
it's crazy. Confident. Yeah, I mean, and it's so true about that protection, because at times here you can feel so alone. And that's the ego, isn't it? That's a very small part of us. And I'm sure that probably has a lot to do with why the planet is in the mess that it's in, because we feel so insignificant and we feel so small, when actually, I mean, I'm so interested to hear your opinion, but when you think about some of the world politics and you think about some of the shenanigans that are going on in the world and the way people treat each other, and the lies, the control, the manipulation, the fear, for me personally, I've always believed that the people who partake in that type of situation must feel so insignificant within themselves to behave like that, right? Because
well, it's often we want to have that sort of like, they must be miserable, they better be, because they're making everyone else miserable with their control and their manipulation and their deception and stuff. But when we explore it, they're just, again, playing the game, playing their role to help awaken humanity. And I know many clients very, very angry, hurt, and upset about certain politicians, because I have clients all around the world, so I get to hear deeply about all sort of leaders. And I can tell you, when you have a session and your subconscious shows you that soul waking up and coming to, and knowing that their role that they had to do to awaken humanity, I mean, it's kind of like the same when you understand that the life purpose and contract for Hitler was to awaken humanity.
Yes.
And we love all. We can't judge, I mean, we could if it's a hobby, but it's about observing and understanding. If you're going to try and awaken humanity, we don't respect ourselves enough to love ourselves enough to be able to kind of like want to work together in communities and unity. We will only come together when there is tragedy. We'll only come together when there is drama and dramatics and there's a victim and we can all get involved in it. Otherwise, we wouldn't acknowledge with just pure love, because we see each other as brothers and sisters and soul family here. So, the state of the world is because of the state of, humanity's reluctance to love each other, trust each other, love ourselves and trust ourselves, and all that sort of stuff. You're 100% right in terms of this can never be repeated again, because it's taking too much toll on all. Took too much of a toll on the soul of Gaia. It took too much, like the guardians and the guides and all the collectives that are supporting this experience. It's a lot on them too. You can talk to a subconscious and they're so done with it. They've been here watching and supporting this planet the entire time. And they want to go. They want to do their other projects. They want to go home. They want to do a whole lot of stuff. And their life contracts are with us too. While they've got free will, they're very passionate about being here to support us. And the experiences that you have on Earth are very challenging. We all know that. But they want to be mastered. They want to be experienced and explored, but there is too many distractions. And so after mind-blowing session after mind-blowing session after mind-blowing session, where my clients never knew each other, they never could share notes and be like, haha, this is going to get her this time, like she's going to blow a little, it was very traumatizing experiencing and hearing all these sessions while trying to support the clients to be able to, because they're like, oh, I'm obviously crazy. Like, this was a really great session. I really learned lots about myself. But this information, Jo, no, like that. Where did I come up with that? What's wrong with me with that? I'm not suicidal. I'm not wanting to harm humanity. I love Earth. They really went through their own personal journey with it. And then I sort of realized I actually need to start sharing these sessions publicly, because I am I'm a practitioner, and while I had other clients that were practitioners, this is a big world, and I think I need to find more support from other practitioners who must be getting the same information. Let's come together to be able to learn how to really support our clients the best, because this is a lot. And while I bought all of Dolores Cannon books, I hadn't got through it because my sort of awakening was very sort of fast and brutal, and but also sort of slow while I could, brace myself. I had three children under 3. I was a little bit busy with, my actual life as well, and trying to support these people. And, so when I was having my own sessions as a client, we were being told, you've got to prepare humanity for what's to come. It's going to be devastating for them, but they have to brace it, especially for those who are here to support and help humanity. And, you know, lots of clients will be told through their subconscious as you're a healer. Okay, cute, but what? And how do we heal?
Yeah.
Because then they rush off and think, oh, I must do a Reiki course, or I must do something, something, something. And when you actually understand how to heal people, we can't heal people. That's very egoic of us to think that we can magically heal people. People have to be ready and wanting to heal themselves, and we just support them through that by giving them perspectives and opportunities to speak about their feelings and to be able to talk. Actually, I used to think talk therapy was nonsense and crap and never got anywhere because it's just talking. But now I've matured. And I realized that the more we talk about our feelings and our thoughts, the more we can understand what's going on for us and our triggers and where our insecurities lay and all that sort of stuff. So we were supposed to shift in December 2020, and we got lots of information about that. And it was quite sort of scary to brace ourselves for this, because at that point in time, it was going to be 70% of the planet was just going to sort of disappear. Yeah. And you know, and those left behind wasn't a punishment, but those were souls that wanted those experiences to be here on a very traumatized planet, broken systems, and, you know, surrounded by lots of exit points from people, and processing that. And that is exactly what those souls needed, because potentially they may have accidentally blown up civilizations, planets, manipulated and controlled others for their own needs. And this is where you need to experience what that feels like. Again, it's not a punishment. When we choose our life contracts, it's us, our teams. You know, there is no one saying, well, you shortcutted that person off on the road, so you're going to be shortcutted off. Like, there is nothing like that. It's not very petty at all. It's very mature and growing for the souls. And so a lot of souls who have not considered the consequences of their actions, say by destroying planets, you know, they get to fully embrace that experience coming. And this did not feel very, you know, it was very hard emotionally. So I know people want to celebrate the book, and it's sort of hard to celebrate the book, which is going to be producing a lot of trauma and a lot of, you know, the chaos is coming. And it wasn't until I started looking at some of the books from Dolores to realize, oh my gosh, she was telling us way back then about it. And while we sort of come to these moments where it sort of looks like this is going to be an event to unfold everything, and then people use their free will and their choices, and it looks like there's new growth in areas, you know, the collectives are like, okay, well, this could be better. Let's allow this to extend out and see if there's more growth, more experiences, more opportunities for unity, and all this sort of stuff. So this is why we keep having these kind of extended bonus times. And when you look at Dolores Cannon's work, she was getting the information that the shift was going to happen in 2012. And so those people who sort of followed her work couldn't understand why it didn't happen. You know, humanity had just had a massive trigger of trauma prior to that. And when we as a collective have very low frequency, we're very much afraid of the state of the world. We can't be high frequency vibrations enough to organically shift. And so this is now we're getting to a point of having to be manually evacuated.
So tell me though, so with these extensions that we keep having, okay, how is Gaia coping? I mean, I had heard at some point that Gaia had left in 2020, but then I'm thinking, if she's left, you know, it's like, where did I read earlier in your book? It's like, you know, anyone, let's take the consciousness out of a physical body. When that consciousness goes, the body decays. So it's the same as, you know, if Gaia leaves this planet, or if she has left this planet, it's decaying. I mean, has she gone? Is your understanding that she, because last time
she did shift last year, and so she it's kind of like, if you will, to try and, I mean, you know, I don't really know all of the stages of, like, you know, being a planet and how that sort of, you know, must feel or be, but I know from it, like a human point of view, when you're in like a coma, you know, so you're brain dead, your body is still functioning because it's on machines and equipment and things, but, you know, it's still being supported that way, but the soul has gone.
Right.
Has gone.
Okay.
And so this is when a lot of light workers, or I don't know, the names and labels can confuse people and that sort of stuff. So all of the people who could hold higher frequency naturally, they got sort of like their share of being sort of a support for Gaia. Yeah, so we were the people on the humans on the earth that were supporting energetically this way. And as I said, there's more beings supporting this planet off planet than there is on planet, and so it is a lot, and it's taking a lot. There was lots of clients that were seeing their home planets in sessions and being mortified. I mean, first of all, their normal selves had no idea. They just thought that they've always been on Earth. They didn't yeah, it's cute. They used to talk about aliens, Joe, and off-planet beings, blah, 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 but that's not for me because, I'm religious and all that sort of stuff. Cool. I'm not going to push anything, knowing the subconscious is going to show my client the most appropriate thing for them. And so they would go back to this planet, this home planet, and when the client, and then suddenly they're bawling their eyes out because the home, and they've got their home family there and the energy there, and they are embraced again by their soul family and friends, and they are just I mean, it's emotional to see them go through this beautiful experience again. And then when they get shown by your soul families this sacred room of crystals, and it's depleted, and the crystals have been depleted because they're sending energy to Earth, they get it. And so do I, that, it's not just those beings that are on spaceships that are supporting, everyone's sending love to Earth. Everyone's sending love to empower us, to inspire us. And this is when I realized how much of a toll this is taking. And we know that the density and energy of Earth has already eroded a planet that was nearby. And so, you can't just sort of sweep away the darkness or the density or, the energy that is very heavy. And energy never dies, including density energy, and Earth is very dense, and we don't really notice it until we have sessions where clients go to the new Earth, and it's amazing. It's the best thing ever. It's so beautiful and just so uplifting. There's no words. It's amazing. And then come back to the density of here, it's quite the torturous experience, because from feeling so free and energized and uplifted and so connected to everyone on New Earth, coming here, you feel like a rock. You feel so, you feel very stagnant and stiff and dense. And, this is why the subconscious is for some people, showing them New Earth and letting them feel the power and significance of New Earth is too much for them to come back and sort of keep functioning. And this is the hardest thing. The advanced souls, they can hear this information through their own sessions and understand it and know what's to come, to be able to still be functioning, still play 3D, still be interactive with people who are so worried about really insignificant things, with much respect, because the bigger picture is, money or something is truly irrelevant in the bigger scheme of things. But we know that with humans, we love being fixated in small details. We love to distract ourselves, and we love drama and fear and feeling disempowered. So, it's always choices.
Tell me though, because it's so true. I understand that in one of the sessions I was listening to, that, everybody is just in dismay at this planet and this Earth. I mean, like you said, it is taking up an enormous amount of energy from other planets, other Earths, other universes, for source, for collect. It is, everybody has got their eye on this planet, and the way it's become too toxic for Gaia, and that she was just wanting to remove herself. But I want to understand, and that she was on life support for a long time. I want to understand, where did we go wrong? Because let me be honest with you, when I was reading your book, and I feel guilty.
Oh, sweetheart.
I feel what can I do to atone? What have I done to contribute to the misuse of this planet and what we have done? And so I'm sure that, I spend my days now going around going, gosh, what could I have done better? How can I atone? How can I help? And then I go, God, but I want to kind of finish off my contract, and I want to live out my life. And there are so many emotions. But if we could just go back for the moment, why have we screwed it up so royally? Let's go back there. Like, when did that happen? Was it why?
Yeah. So from my understanding, it is about when we started seeing each other as disconnect, when we stopped being in tribes, stopped being in harmony, started taking animals for more than our needs. We became sort of greedy in certain things. We became possessive of the land. We started owning animals for there is this beautiful true imbalance and harmony with nature, with each other, and this beautiful true culture of tribes, and we all had our own places, and we all were one, and all this sort of stuff in our communities. And then when we sort of started expanding, we started wanting more space, and there was sort of this disconnect with our we could be fine in our tribe, but because another tribe was growing, and there is sometimes, threat of food sources and all this sort of stuff. When we started wanting to fight with each other to be able to grab more animals for meat, or for more land, or more water, or something like this, it kind of, when we didn't know how to communicate with each other, even our neighboring tribes, this is when we started getting out of balance and wanting more for ourselves than allowing for others. And
a disrespect.
Right. Disharmony, disbalance, and when we started thinking that we were kind of like the kings of the planets, and so all animals, we started just farming without moral compasses.
Yes.
And we started exploring, traveling more, and we could have done all of this and still been respectful for each other. And then we got some advanced technologies from off-planet beings, and that kind of boosted up things really well, but it kind of was an artificial boost, because morally we still were not really in balance and harmony with each other. And we saw, we're not really trusting of strangers and things like this, because we're so connected in with our own tribes. It was a bit sort of, there needed to be some maturity with that. But and then, of course, you may have an accident where someone got killed or something, and then you sort of want, there's revenge. It's all those range of emotions that come through that never sort of kind of got mastered, respected, and restored and balance and harmony. So
out war and all out for one, really.
Yeah.
And I have a question. So my understanding, and your knowledge and your information from subconscious may tell you different. So my understanding is that when we come down here to Earth, and we come down, we choose. I understand we choose everything. We choose our contracts. We choose our challenges and our burdens. That's what I say. So we can learn and grow and evolve. And so from what you're saying, my understanding is, even if you choose a challenge that is particularly difficult and would invoke a lot of anger and a lot of wanting to get back at someone, the point is to experience the challenge and understand the lesson, but to do it in the most balanced way possible, and to do it in the most way where you acknowledge that person has repaid you some karma or done badly to you, but rather than recreate the cycle so it ensues in just anger, it's a case of going, okay, I understand, it's taught me It's taught me that I need to rely on myself a little bit more, or it's taught me that I should have done that differently. So it's not so much about, what I say is, it's not so much about what happens to us, but it's about how we react to what happens to us. Am I right in understanding from reading Mastering Old Earth and reading about some of these sessions is that what we were meant to be doing all this time is completely the opposite of what we have been doing, which is obviously becoming more and more greedy, more and more selfish, more and more in the ego mind, wanting power and control, that we were meant to experience some harsh lessons and experiences and overcome our burdens, but do it in a way which is more empowering and expansive, almost in a positive way, so that we could keep learning to elevate and grow and unconditionally love. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yes. So when we were sort of so unified with our tribes and we were all one, deeply then, because now we don't really sort of have the tribe. I mean, we may have family, but we don't really sort of like live with family. We've become sort of, we only select a small amount of people to live with, and all that sort of stuff. So it really is now really rudimentary in terms of we must empower ourselves to love ourselves, to be able to forgive ourselves, to respect all life lessons and experiences as opportunities to grow, for that full love of self, that full empowerment of self, to be able to love others. And when we are so distracted trying to love others and heal others and do all this other stuff for others, we're neglecting self. And so that's when we become, if you're trying to love others, there's usually like, well, if I love you today, can you love me tomorrow and forever? It's kind of like we have these like little contracts and these expectations on others. And when others don't love themselves, how can they truly love us? And so when we don't really love ourselves, how can we truly love others? Like from my understanding, the true basic purpose of Earth experiences is to feel the range of all emotions and to be able to still find love and compassion and unity for all. It's so easy. And when Jesus has come into quite a few sessions, and Buddha, and like amazing people have been reincarnated and they're here now. And I have discovered them through sessions. And, like it's amazing who's here so wise. And, hearing about their purpose and mission. And it's like, I mean, Jesus hasn't reincarnated, but he comes in often. And I just sort of think, God, if only people listened to you back then, like it's the same messages that we should be trying to like empower ourselves with. And I certainly didn't really get him or his messages when I was younger. And I kind of thought he was a bit sort of cliche, cheesy. And now we laugh about it because, I've grown. But, really his message to the world was, we're brothers and sisters, love each other. And that this is, when you're playing this game in this illusion of human, and you're so much more advanced than human, get on with it, like be kids, have fun, don't see each other as competition, see each other as soul family that you've forgotten about, and stop judging the meat suits, because those people who are the super sleepy, super whatever we sort of think we could be above them, or they're just silly because they're not interested in the same stuff that we are, when we dismiss each other and
well, we're dismissing ourselves, because ultimately we're all one, right? So what you see before you is within you, right?
Yeah. And so when you truly love yourself, you can respect and love all, because no one threatens you. You just want to empower people because you feel great about yourself, because you've respected the journey. We've all been the range of emotions. We've all played, victim. We've all played the jerk. We've all played all these sort of things, and we know what it feels like. And so we mature and really realize to respect ourselves, to respect others, and that's just peace and harmony. And if we're still reactive to trauma, I know lots of people love the label of like, oh, I'm a victim to being the narcissist, just find me. Well, when you understand that the narcissist is an adult that's a broken child who's really the broken child's really running the show of being this adult, we have to have compassion for that. Drop the labels, love everyone, and see how they're hurting and how they keep showing us they're hurt. Now we love them, we love ourselves, we can have boundaries to them, because we need them to remind themselves they can heal themselves, they can look at their traumas, they can empower themselves. They know they didn't deserve those traumatic experiences to learn and grow from as children, but they're not children anymore. you know, like it's such a delicate balance, and you know, it's all the fun stuff. But while Gaia's wanted to evolve into a fifth dimension herself energetically here, she couldn't, because there was just too much density pushing on her, and she was sort of needing all that were on her to also expand, but they were not doing that. They were not doing that. And you know that, you know, to be able to imagine that if everyone was ready to do it, you'd be in this open balance of love yourself and love others truly, no exceptions, you know, like we can't.
Yeah.
And like, it's interesting, a lot of spiritual people sort of think, oh, well, I can love my collectives, I'm Palladian, so I can just love my Palladian soul families. But oh, there's other collectives out there that are dark and evil, and then there's you know, the cabal and all this sort of stuff. Like, you know, no. We have to love all the players, you know, the roles for all. And I think you really understand. I have seen big changes in people, like dramatically, when they realize we're not even allowed to hate Hitler. You know, we're not allowed to hate anyone. We have to understand the roles of their life contracts. And while we may not be like pleased with some people's free will choices, you know, respect the game we're playing.
And I, you know, when I was reading Dolores Cannon's Life After Death, I really understood that. I could see and I could hear, and actually in your sessions that I've listened to, when I hear subconscious talking and I hear different collectives talking, I can hear there is just no judgment, you know, and each soul, I mean, you know, some people would find that really difficult to, when we talk about the cabal, when we talk about Hitler, when we talk about, you know, some of the things that are going on today, people would find it really difficult to not judge. And I guess it's trusting enough and knowing enough that everything, well, this is where I get confused. I'm going to say trusting enough that everything is as it should be, but then clearly I'm thinking, well, it can't be as it should be, because we're all going to have to be evacuated off the planet, and poor Gaia has had to be removed and taken to another planet. So
I mean, she's fine. Like, you know, she's come into many sessions since shifting, and she's fantastic. You know, like she doesn't hold anyone accountable. She's, you know, she's very mature. She's respecting it, because she knows that while her original life contract was, you know, to be 3D, to advance and have the whole planet move up into the dimension of fifth, you know, that was, you know, that's really impressive, because planets have done that before, but not with humanoid occupants. And so this was, you know, this was something, you know, for the books. If there was, you know, the records of the Guinness Book of Records for universes, I don't know, but you know, like this was a unique thing, because and that's how it was supposed to be. But the lessons here are going to be so profound that future experiences that we perceive as future, for other planets and for other civilizations, there is more balance, peace, and harmony. And so this is the biggest lesson here, to be able to really correct and to be able to show, and you're right, this will never be allowed to repeat itself again. And this is why it's been extended upon extended upon extended, because while it's all this interesting shit show, I say with love, you know, you cannot recreate it. And so all of the life contracts, if you've had 100 lifetimes here and you need to, you know, have lots of connections with different people to be able to sort of, you know, fix and heal and overcome all of the past choices we've made, you know, these lifetimes now are very, very, very busy. And it seems because my larger soul is on Earth, is what we would call a second wave volunteer. And I do have some walk-in aspects that are, you know, coming on with the ride, that's sharing with us that while we just feel like we're one physical body, you know, think of us as a taxi, and or a minibus for some people, and there's lots of souls all going on the journey. It may look like one person, it may sound like one person, but actually the walk-in components are very important, because we don't sort of seem to have enough time to be able to have, you know, a full life, to have these experiences, and you know, we're not being possessed. It's all very interesting, and as well, I did quite
like the idea of the walk-in, to be honest. And I remember thinking, or different walk-ins, and I remember thinking when I was writing, because I'm finishing my book, and I remember thinking one day I was writing particularly well, and I said to myself, oh, I hope I didn't have to have a walk-in to come in and do this for me, and that I couldn't do it. It's quite funny when you start to read like that, you're like, because you want to make sure that you're just doing the best you can do, right? And you're doing very well. But so listen, talk to me then about timing. Okay, I know we talk about what is timing, but if this shift is going to happen, and it was meant to happen in 2012, and it was meant to happen in 2020, but now that Gaia's soul has departed, surely there then has to be a finite length of time, right, before there is complete decay, there is complete destruction here on planet Earth. So, and my understanding is that shifting is happening now. There are shifts taking place. Are we allowed to know when this huge event is going to happen, or is it going to be bit by bit by bit as we're going? Or
so you are right, people are shifting daily, and it will look like sudden death, or exit points of all various descriptions. And this is really when they have graduated, they've completed what they needed to complete. And when someone exits and has a human 3D death, it does impact others. And it seems to be when when you lost a loved one, that's when you really have to start thinking, what next? What is there life after death? And you start sort of being forced into finding your own inner peace with spirituality, and to understand what really happens to the soul. And so, all very significant and purposeful. So there is going to be locations where there's going to be more bigger exit points for helping those shift.
When you say exit points, you mean disasters? You mean situations happening, right? Do you mean when you say exit points?
Exit points is when what we could see is someone has died. Right. And so we all choose our exit points. It's all part of what our guides are supporting us to do. Often we can have many options for it, so we can as an individual have our exit points, our death scene, from the 3D version of self, where we leave the physical meat suit, the bodies, and the soul will go on to have life reviews, and to be able to figure out what's going next, and to be paused. There's lots that have shifted, even clients that have shifted, and they come in through sessions and say things like, "It's real, Jo, the shift's real and the new earth's real." I'm like, that's cute. Thanks, I know. I've heard
it so many times, I know.
But it's so cool because they want to let me know. They're like, it's real. And then and so then I can feel like they're with me for a while, because they're like, how does sessions really work? And they're just like it's all fun. But often when we have clients and their soul family their family and their friends and even their pets have shifted, exited, had death scenes, gone to their funerals. And, I asked them, what are you doing now in the afterlife? And they said, well, we're waiting for everyone to shift, because it's to go to the new earth. It's not just, next door. It's actually quite far away, and it needs to be, people need to be transported. When you leave the physical carbon-based bodies, you merge into a crystalline-based body, which is a light body. But because this is quite a shock for many, because they have no comprehension that they're not in heaven or hell, or that there is something after death, they will give themselves the comfort of feeling like the illusion of their light bodies will make them feel like they're still looking like themselves. But ironically, usually a little bit younger, a little bit skinnier, and a little bit more like healthy. Like,
quite fine with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. If I have to. Yeah. So it's funny because my clients will see their parents and they're like, "Oh, mum and dad are so young." Like, mum's just all her little rocking her little mini skirts, and dad looks like he's, like, I think I can see him in the photos from, when they were married, like they instantly recognize their family, but they really notice that, oh, mum and dad, like you guys are still rocking it and being really cute and young and healthy and happy. And when you're grieving and you still don't understand the process of what happens after death, this is so healing, because we're so afraid of death we don't properly live. And when we have known our favorite people who have died, when we see them again in sessions and feel them again in sessions, and we can feel their energy, they come in, they give us big hugs energetically, you can feel their energy, and they're like, all is well. I'm fine. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I loved my life. Stop distracting yourself with worrying with me. I'm right here. I've never left you. I'm right there. Feel me and live, do this. It's important. You've got this. Stop limiting yourself. Stop going into fear. Trust all is well when we're together again. And as a practitioner, you're still like trying not to cry because you know how deeply paralyzing your clients are feeling after death of someone that they've children, everything. And they come out of the sessions, they look younger and they feel like they can seize the day. They can live again because they know now that no one's lost.
No.
They are going to see others again. They are going to feel others again. And while this does look very challenging, Earth, blah, 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 this is not it. This is not it for us. This is one moment in time of an experience to help with this Earth experience that's very challenging. But this isn't where our story ends. This is where it begins.
In fact, one of my best friends, her father passed over recently, and I was quite excited, having read Dolores, Life After Death. So I was really excited, and I was saying, oh my gosh, he's going to be going to this amazing healing place, and then there's these libraries, and there's all these fantastic places, and he's going to be having a ball. And we were talking about it this evening, actually, because I said, hey, how are you feeling? And she said, she had a session with a friend who was able to connect with his energy, and he's having a final time, and he's just absolutely happy. And that's so nice for her. It's so nice to know that there is, we just evolve, we just leave this vehicle behind and off we go on to our next chapter. But where does that take us with this shift, Jo? And because I think, firstly, everybody needs to read your book. We need to get it out there, because I think if something, well, the world is going through such change as it is, and people need to know. I mean, I'm assuming subconscious, and everybody who's looking at the earth now and helping us and supporting us, I'm assuming they want as many people to know as possible to help them to get used to the idea of what might be happening.
If you're guided to it, obviously they keep saying consciously in 3D perspectives, it's just too much to grasp and, can freak us out. The level of truth is too much, and sometimes the truth can be poisonous to us if we're not quite ready for it. And there's others that completely grab this information, absorb this information, and feel more dedicated, focused, and understand their reasons for being here, because the shift, when people do shift, need a lot of support, because it's very confusing for them. They know that the planet's had a lot of natural activities, things are getting a lot more intensive, and so they need sort of stewardists, as sort of to speak, to support them and help them understand all as well. And then again, when people do arrive on the new earth, there is this time frame of raising their frequency vibrations and consciousnesses to be able to be open to it. So a lot of people do need to witness the full destruction, where you can just tell the earth is uninhabitable anymore, for various reasons. So having your own sessions, just like what I'd recommend with your friend whose father died, when you channel other beings, you feel their energy, and it's undeniable. And what's great that we can go to mediums and spiritual other people, blah, 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 to honestly empower yourself 100%, channel for yourself. And quantum sessions like BQH and QHHT give you that connection. And with a good practitioner who can say, I'd like to call upon the father of my client, she needs a love hug from dad. And it's amazing what we can do with these sessions. And this is why I encourage all practitioners to have as many sessions as they need to be able to understand how these sessions work, to have respect for these sessions, and to be able to get the most out of them for the clients. Because while we are experiencing our own death scenes from other lifetimes and our own purposes and our own missions, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you can pack in so much from these sessions. They are life-changing, and I don't use that lightly. I have seen miracles in these sessions.
No, I can't wait to have my session. I was very drawn to it just from reading her work, and I thought, and I actually came to the conclusion, in fact, my daughter and I were one of my daughters and I were talking about it the other night, just saying that, I've worked with other people before, and I just thought, now the only work that I can do is just going directly to subconscious, directly myself.
Yeah.
It's the only way now. I think that I've done sort of personal development and emotional healing and been so interested in that work for so long, but this has really opened my eyes to another really deep level, and I'm like, okay, so it's time for me to learn that and go there and ask directly rather than through someone else.
And we do find that even our own limited, like our own perspectives can be limiting accidentally, so I know a lot of clients that will come to me, say they're super spiritual, they know all this sort of stuff, but then their perspectives are very limited because they've learned it from someone else who was also limited, and they didn't realize that some of their foundational information from spiritual and ways of life, are very human. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's always good to fact check from our subconsciouses, like what was the life contract between, me and that person, and the significance. And, getting their information is like they're very certain of themselves. They know what they're talking about. And this is really the key. It takes some time for us to be able to apply, to trust their information, and to understand where they're coming from. Because again, we may not be wanting to understand or see that we possibly would have wanted such trauma. So when the practitioner gets them to explain why, the significance of that experience, blah 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 blah, they're very open to helping us. So some people want to use these sessions to be able to get advanced information about the shift, and the subconscious is like, whoa, 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 whoa.
We're going to do,
let's look at your inner work for love of self. Why are you still holding back here? And why are you still not speaking your truth here? And all this sort of stuff. So, the subconscious know exactly what you should be hearing and all that sort of stuff. I explore with my clients, who are they listening to as influencers? And they say, oh, I've got this one's t-shirt, I've got this one's book, and I love this one, and oh, she's so blah, 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 blah. Fantastic. Then I ask the subconscious, what would you like her to know about them? And that's when the subconscious will say, well, I'm so limited. The shift is not a mindset, like the subconscious isn't going to be like all PC. They're bullshit. They are not your collective. Blah 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 blah. Like stepping stones are fantastic. We all need stepping stones, and but some stepping stones, I just want to say, hold us back, because those stepping stones, those influences, were only ever able to give us the information that they have matured and got themselves. And sometimes when we ask, why is this big influencer so limited in their perspective? Purposeful, because you're supposed to jump through your stepping stones to find self and to find your own truth, to be able to channel for yourselves. And in my opinion, I think everyone should be able to channel, because we're very capable of doing it. But there is real channeling, and then there is channeling your egos, and there is so much to be said about that. And you can see the difference between someone truly channeling a high dimensional being versus someone putting on a performance.
It's so interesting you say that, because I have faced that lesson myself very recently, in that I had been doing work with a coach for quite some time, and I started to realize that actually it kind of wasn't serving me. And in fact, the more that I allowed that influence, the more I actually began to question myself and my true inner knowing already. So it's been it's been something it's been niggling at me actually for a couple of weeks. I must admit, I haven't quite managed to let go of it, but I'm like, okay, take that one on the chin completely.
Because, my friend, because you just love them, because you respect them, you pay money, you trust them, and you believe what they're saying, which could be, that sounds all empowering, and it sounds like limitless and true divine connections and all this sort of stuff we all deserve. And then when you realize that their agenda is to keep you and then them, and then of course when we can see this, then we feel like we are the biggest a-holes, because what kind of person would do that, right? So then we double question ourselves. No, that can't be. Like, they're loved. They've got big followers. They've got all this stuff. And first of all, I'm sorry for the disempowerment that you experienced, but I love empowerment now, and you know that, because it's a stepping stone, and now you can skip through. And say goodbye.
100%. And it's all about, learning to, or my thought processes, it's, about learning to connect to your own inner security and own authority, which I know has been a lesson of mine in this lifetime. I know it's something that I've had to do. So, but I am going to get you to teach me how to channel at some point, that's for sure. But so Jo, I want to ask you, because I want to help get this book out, because I think it's really important. And I think the work that you have done is incredible. Listeners, you really have to read Mastering, Mastering Old Earth. What message would you give to people who are going to come across it and start to read it? Because I'm going to spread the word and try and get it out there as much as I can. And I know you're doing that. And, we trust that everyone who's meant to read it will come across it. But what message would you give to humanity right now? Because some of it is unnerving. I'm not going to lie. Some of it's like, are you kidding me? And some of it's like, oh, that's okay. But, what message would you give?
My biggest message would be, you're so loved. You're so loved. You're so loved. And while these experiences may not be our favorite cup of tea, they're really significant. More so for everyone involved, and for those advanced souls who are here that are gobbling up this information and feeling within themselves, this is an uncomfortable truth that I acknowledge and knowing that I've known for, but didn't want to be like, I think I'm just going to destroy the earth next year or whatever, we're here for a reason. And to love each other and ourselves is the primary goal. And when we see so many people distracted with lack and all that sort of stuff, we understand how scary that can be, how isolating it can be. The power of love is always going to, heal the world. But this world, she doesn't want to be healed. And we've asked so many times in sessions, can we fix it? Can I use my free will to do this sort of stuff? Have your own sessions, explore it yourself. Interns are free for Qhht, okay? And so there are so many free ways for you to find the information. Challenge it, question the shit out of it. I invite you to be critical thinkers. And when you are channeling your own subconscious and they're very certain about themselves, trust that. They're not trying to screw with you. They're trying to help you. And when I gave the book, I did work with a team to be able to create the book. If you're not a reader, I respect that. Listen to the sessions. They're free on YouTube as well. You get to hear the energy, feel the energy, listen to a lot of listen to me be nervous, asking big questions, because sometimes you don't want the answers to be, we can't fix this. The soul's gone. And when you understand that everything physical has a life cycle, and even planets have death, this is a lot. Remembering this isn't, for most of you, I can guarantee this won't be your first ever lifetime ever. And even though I have had I think I've had 3 clients that have never, ever, ever had any other physical lifetimes, because they've just been hanging out with Source and being Source consciousness for their entire existence. They're here now for you, me, everyone. And they're high frequency. They have got it going on. But of course, they're still human. They still have self-doubt. They still don't know if their love can be felt by all. And, there's so much amazing souls here to assist us all. And so if this is information that you feel like your soul is yearning for, to be able to bring in your consciousness to understand what's happening, go for it. If it's not, it's all right as well. You don't need to know this information to shift. But I recommend getting a good, healthy, balanced understanding of death and the cycle of death and the process that the soul never, ever goes. May go back to Source, fantastic. Everyone really wants to go back to Source. And when you're not with Source, you're having interesting, fantastic experiences, one way or another, physical or not physical.
Amazing. Can we do this again? Can we?
Sure.
Are we going to have time to do this again?
Yeah. I'm excited for you, my friend, because you're in that middle of, God, hopefully it's a happy ending. And yes, I promise you, New Earth is everything. Is so good. Like, it's a 5th dimensional planet. We have unity. We actually love each other. There is no none of the density and the reactions of anything that is not uplifting. We feel each other so deeply and compassionately. We feel back with one. We just feel, I mean, it's whatever your notions of like heaven is, or the best examples, and that's how we live. And we don't have to worry. There is no financial systems there. There is no leaders there. We are all balanced in harmony in our light bodies, in our crystalline bodies. We have our family, soul family that we've forgotten about. And I just want to remind those people who are afraid about, well, what's going to happen to my children? What lifetime? You may have had 100 other lifetimes, and you may have thousands of kids. So just because you can't remember those kids right now and those soul families right now doesn't mean you won't. And there is massive family reunions, and those, that longing for them, you can feel them. It's like we've always had arms, we just forget that we can feel them. And your soul family is calling out for you, and you're calling out for your soul family. And when we go back to the new earth and we have our family reunions, it's when we ask in sessions, what are they doing on the new earth? And it's just celebration after celebration of connections, of unity, of, oh my gosh, that was intensive, that earth experience, but lessons, unforgettable, undeniable lessons that the earth had to experience while we were here. Yeah. And Gaia's soul is fine. And there is her, you know, she is very respected by all collectives. And when she chooses again, I think she was going to be on the new earth for quite some time, enjoying 5th. And then they're going to recreate a new vehicle for her, a new body for her. And she's going to do it again, where she's from the 3rd and graduates into the 5th. Wow. And, you know, there is so much about soul's support. And I'm excited for you because you're going to finish this, you're going to finish this book, but also you're going to have your own session, and you're going to question the crap out of this. And I love that for you, because that is when you get the full self-empowerment, when you feel your subconscious coming in and telling you your role in this and how you're going to be supporting humanity. And that when they tell you and reassure you, all is well, it is beautiful, and this is needed, it's well overdue, but you're here now for a specific reason. It will make you feel at peace with all that needs to come. Of course, we're still emotional. Of course, we don't want to see people be stuck in fear or traumatized, but they need those lessons for an important reason. So they learn from it and they make different choices moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to put all your information in the resources for this episode. I'm going to I could put the PDF in you know, the link to the PDF, and then the YouTube to your YouTube channel, so everyone can get access to it. I want to advertise it as much as we can on social media. We will keep chatting, and I'm going to also finish the book, and then we're going to have another session, which would be amazing, just because I think we need to get this information out there. And I'm so pleased and honored to have been speaking to you, and to be reading this masterpiece and going through this roller coaster of emotions, sad, happiness, anger, the lot, feeling all of it. So I just want to thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, you know, brave soul, you are. And obviously you've been attracted to this information, guided to this information. This was the time for you to grow with this knowledge, because it does kind of put things into perspective of the things we used to be worried about and focused on in 3D. You know, it's great. We sort of don't need to worry about it so much. And we also get to enjoy the 3D days. There are so much beautiful things to experience, and there is joy, and there is beautiful families that we're with and friends that we are with. And that's really what we're needing to focus on, versus the grind of working and jobs that don't necessarily fulfill our souls. And I sort of suggest to people, don't do anything drastic unless you do a session. The subconscious says, quit your job, move out of that house, end that relationship, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they know. But, you know, lots of people get triggered into this, holy shoot, I need to get a wriggle on then. I want you to know that the people that you're with in your lives now, the families, you know, seems like a lot of families do shift together. And if they don't, there are significant reasons for it. And we must honor all souls, all life contracts, and all free will. as much as hard it is. We don't own our children. We just love them forever. And, they're avant souls as well. So there's always lots to unfold. Don't get stressed if you're feeling it. Allow yourself to feel it and see what comes up for you. Because if you've been evacuating planets for a long time, like many of my clients, we have to immerse ourselves into the experience to be able to assist those who are going through it almost blindly, emotionally blindly.
Jo, I'm speechless. I just thank you. And I just hope hundreds of thousands of people listen to this, and we're just going to help you get this book out there and get this information out there. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I will let you know this will be posted next week, and we will speak again very soon.
Sure. Yeah. Let me know how you go, my friend. It is a roller coaster ride. Honor it. But also I can support and assist if you need any just venting, purging, because sometimes just getting the perspective that sort of is lacking can be very helpful and supportive.
Okay. You'll probably get a whole load of people booking in with sessions for you now, saying, "Oh my God, I need a session. I need a session."
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm happy to support people who want to grow and look at their inner work and see where their perspectives can be empowered. But I'm going to say to you, the subconscious is always going to say the same things to you. You need to love yourself. You need to drop all the limits and the worries of what other people think and feel of you. You need to drink lots of water. You need to honor the body with respect. It's an important vehicle. And while we may be shifting very soon, you can't truly love yourself if you're abusing your body with junk food. And if you are a sugar addict, inner work from child, they need to be treated and celebrated and nurtured. And you as adults can do that fantastically. While your parents may not have been the lovers and nurturers that you needed, it was always to empower yourself to be your own nurturer and lover. So there's so much to be said about that, but I want to empower you all.
Oh, you take care. Big love, Jo, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you.